The plumber's face turned white. I'll never forget the way his hand shook as he pulled the camera snake out of our upstairs shower. "Sir, you might want to see this." He twisted the screen around, and I froze. There, jammed deep in the pipe, was a tiny metallic key, the kind you'd use at a high-end gym. It glinted on screen under the flashlight like it was proud of itself. But it was the engraving that sucker-punched me. Albert Yvonne, my wife's personal trainer. That smug punk from Granite Performance Gym. Same guy who started texting my wife 3 months ago when she wanted to work on her core strength. Same guy who always wore tight black shirts, showed up to house calls in a Tesla, and laughed like a frat boy with a trust fund. My name's Derek Miles. I'm 44, a building inspector in Greenpoint, Indiana. I've spent 2 decades crawling under foundations, surviving mold, rats, and near electrocutions. But nothing ever hit me like that key. "How long's it been in there?" I asked. The plumber, Rico, I think his name was, shrugged. "Could be months. Someone had to shove it in. No way that fell in on its own." My wife, Sophie, was at Target. She goes there a lot lately. Buys nothing. Comes home glowing. Sometimes she's working late at the fitness center. Sometimes she's doing breath work with her accountability group. But the air changed when Rico pulled that key from the pipe. I felt it in my bones. It wasn't just cheating. It was premeditated. That night, Sophie came home with nothing in her hands but fake energy. "I got tired of waiting in line," she said, setting her purse down. I held up the key. "What's this?" I asked. Her face drained color like someone pulled the plug. "That was in our shower drain," I said. "Deep." Rico had to cut the pipe open. I don't know what that is. It's a gym key. Avery Vaughn's, I bet. Number 89. You train him too." "Derek, please, let me explain." "Oh, I will let you. But choose your story carefully, Sophie. Because what you say next determines if we burn this life down together or if you do it alone." She stared at me. Her pupils dilated. And then she whispered it. "I never meant for this to happen." That was her confession. Like and subscribe if you've ever ignored a red flag. What happened when you finally paid attention? Comment your city too. I want to know how many of us there are. Sophie confessed it started during late-night cleanup shifts at Granite Performance. She said it was emotional at first, then physical, then out of control, for months. While I was planning our 10th anniversary trip to Charleston, while I was rebuilding our deck by hand, while I was picking up kale chips and collagen drinks she'd suddenly discovered. She didn't even cry. She said, "I was going to tell you, Derek." I swear, right? Like the way she swore she was over her ex, the same one who damned her on Christmas Eve. I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I just nodded slowly and said, "You're going to leave this house tonight." She stood there, stunned. "You're kicking me out." "No," I said. "I'm letting you walk out with whatever dignity you have left." I crashed at my brother Nate's place. Nate used to be a detective, but now runs a private security firm outside Indy. We drank bourbon on his porch while I showed him the key, the photos, and the screenshots I'd already started collecting. "She's playing you," he said, scrolling through Sophie's latest motivational gym selfies. "This guy Vaughn, he's been bragging. Bragging? Yeah. One of my old buddies saw him at a rooftop bar last week. Loud, drunk, told everyone he was going to level up and take his girl's husband to court." That's when it clicked. Sophie hadn't just cheated. She was setting me up to be the villain in her little fairy tale, to get the sympathy, the house, my pension, and the reputation boost. She was positioning me as the angry ex-husband who couldn't handle her glow-up. I pulled out my phone. The text from her was still there. "Can we talk? I think we need a conscious, uncoupling approach. Something mature and peaceful." Peaceful? She was about to divorce me peacefully, after plotting behind my back for months? "Time to go nuclear," I said. Nate nodded. "Then we do this clean. We need proof. Hard evidence. Get her on tape. Get him on record. Then burn the house down, legally." That Sunday, we staked out Granite Performance Gym. It sat next to a juicery and a med spa. Real Instagram wife territory. At 7:48 p.m., the red Tesla pulled into the lot. Out stepped Avery Vaughn, slick back hair, gym duffel, sunglasses at night. He strutted in like he owned the building. At 8:02 p.m., Sophie arrived in her white SUV. She parked 2 spaces away and walked in like she'd done 100 times. Because she had. At 9:06, she left alone, smiling, hair in a messy bun. At 9:14, Avery emerged. Different shirt, fresh cologne. They thought staggering their exits made it invisible. They didn't know I had 3 voice recorders planted, one in her car, one in her gym bag, and one in the home bathroom vent. Nate's firm handled the tech. By the next morning, I had everything I needed. I had audio of Sophie telling Avery, just 2 more weeks. Then the money's mine. I had a full transcript of her telling her friend at brunch. Honestly, I just need Derek to snap once so I get the restraining order. I'm documenting everything. It wasn't just adultery. It was entrapment. And I was about to turn her plan into a full-blown self-destruction. I didn't confront her. Not yet. You don't light a match during a gas leak. You let it build until it wants to blow. Instead, I made moves. First, I hired Gloria Hart, Greenpoint's most ruthless family attorney. The same woman who got my coworker's wife full custody of their cat and half his boat. Gloria reviewed the audio, shook her head, and said, "We can bury her, but you need one final blow." What kind of blow? The kind that ends a reputation. Permanently. A week later, I faked a reconciliation. I texted Sophie, "You're right. Let's talk. I don't want to end this bitterly." She jumped at the chance. Told me to come by the house. She even lit candles. Wore the same dress she wore to our anniversary dinner last year. The one I didn't realize was a goodbye outfit. I let her do most of the talking. "Maybe we could do therapy," she said. "There's this somatic coach I follow on TikTok." I stopped her. "Sophie, I forgive you." Her eyes widened like she couldn't believe her scam worked. "I know you're scared," I added, "but I won't let this ruin us." And just like that, she dropped her guard. She made tea, left her phone unlocked. While she was in the kitchen, I grabbed it. Screenshots, Venmo payments, photos. One of them nearly made me puke. Her, in our bed, with Avery, holding up a peace sign. They weren't just cheating. They were staging memories. Memories meant to overwrite mine. I sent everything to Gloria, then to Nate. We backed it up 3 times. Printed copies. External drives. The works. 2 nights later, Sophie texted, "Can we announce the separation online first? That way we control the narrative." Narrative? This wasn't a rebrand. This was war. I was about to drop the nuke. That Friday night, I threw a small get-together. She thought it was to soft launch the split with close friends. Instead, I invited everyone we knew, friends, neighbors, her coworkers, even our pastor and the HOA president. I made chili, set out wine, put the photo slideshow on autoplay on the living room TV. Only the photos weren't of us. They were of her and Avery. Time-stamped, geotagged, smiling, half-dressed. And then came the audio. It started quietly. Just her voice. "All I have to do is make Derek lose it once. I'll tell the court he's unstable. It's so easy." Then Avery. "Once he's out of the house, it's all yours, babe." Then laughter. Hers. The room went dead silent. Someone dropped their wine glass. Sophie stood frozen in the hallway, clutching the doorframe like it might hold her dignity up. I turned to the crowd. "Now that you've heard her plan," I said, "feel free to enjoy the chili." The fallout hit faster than even I expected. Within 24 hours, Sophie was out of the fitness studio. Granite Performance issued a statement about professional boundaries. Avery's contract was under review, but that was corporate speak for "you're done here." By Monday, her wellness group unfollowed her. The same girls who used to post her yoga videos with fire emojis were now tweeting Bible verses about betrayal and tagging her. I didn't respond to the chaos. I didn't gloat. I just moved through it like a man cleaning up storm debris, methodical, calm, and relentless. But Sophie wasn't done. Not yet. 3 days after the reveal, she filed a motion claiming the evidence was manipulated, claimed she felt unsafe, tried to get an emergency hearing. Gloria shut it down in under 5 minutes. Then we countered with everything. Fraud, emotional manipulation, attempted entrapment. Gloria even pulled a deposition from Avery's ex, a woman who'd lost a lease and a savings account during his last relationship. We subpoenaed gym records, DMs, emails. And then came the final card. Turns out, Sophie had been using our joint account to pay for Avery's Tesla lease. We had the receipts. The court did not like that. Judge Sinclair, an old-school Vietnam vet with no patience for wellness manipulation, slammed his gavel so hard I flinched. She doesn't get the house, he ruled. She doesn't get alimony. She does get 1 year of probation and community service. And Mr. Miles, your record is clean. I didn't smile. Not in the courtroom. But as we walked out, I whispered to Gloria, now comes the good part. See, this wasn't just about punishment. It was about legacy. And nothing stains a legacy like public records. We released a podcast episode the next week, titled The Shower Drain Key, A Husband Survival Guide to Betrayal, hosted by Nate. Guest appearance by me. We didn't use Sophie's last name. We didn't have to. Locals knew. The episode hit 50,000 downloads in a week. People from other states messaged us, shared their stories, called her gym wife gone rogue. Sophie moved out of Greenpoint 2 weeks later. No would-be, no final text. Just gone. Avery ended up working at a strip mall kickboxing studio in Bloomington. His Tesla got repossessed. Last I heard, he was posting Instagram stories about energy vampires and trying to sell herbal cleanse kits. 6 months later, I was back in the house. My house. The court gave me full ownership, along with my truck, my pension, and, thanks to a little financial judo by Gloria, exclusive rights to our joint LLC. Sophie had no idea I'd listed our home improvement side hustle under the same umbrella as her wellness brand. So I took that too. I walked into the bedroom one evening, the same one where I'd found her whispering on the phone to Avery, and opened the top drawer of her old nightstand. Buried beneath some leftover rose quartz and essential oil bottles was her wedding ring. She had crushed it. I never noticed until then. The band was slightly bent, like she tried to step on it during a tantrum. A little act of violence I hadn't seen before. I held in my hand and smiled. Not bitter, not sad, just finished. I dropped it into a mason jar with the key Rico pulled from the drain. Sealed the lid. Labeled it in Sharpie. What delusion looks like. I keep on my garage shelf. Not as a memory of pain, but as a warning. Because here's the irony. I don't hate Sophie. I don't even hate Avery. I pity them. They thought I was weak. That I'd roll over, sign the papers, and walk out broke and ashamed while they played house in the ruins of my life. But they forgot one thing. You can't count a man who has nothing left to lose. Because a man with nothing left is free. Free to fight smart. Free to expose the truth. And free to walk away from the ashes, still standing.